that he told us it would be. He told us that there are only balconies to the east and there were no balconies on the western side. And the reason for that is that in this small bay, the Romans loved to reconstruct marine battles on small scale. Important marine battles that were played here, so the western balcony would not block the view. They just took it off, and this area here, this small bay, this is not the port, right? We've been to the port, is where they did it. Later on, this is prime real estate here. It's right on the water, right? There was a new hippodrome built to Caesarea, a little bit to the outskirts of the city. And this was cut into half. You see where there is this line of, you see the balconies, and there is like a wall there. They cut the hippodrome to half and formed this closed arena. And the closed arena is used for gladiator games. This is the amphitheater. Well, it's not originally designed as an amphitheater, but this is what they created. Amphitheater is two theaters attached together. It's not a theater. Theater is a theater. It's like one of those. And this is a completely different form of entertainment and culture. The amphitheater, two of them attached together, form a closed arena, like the most famous of which is the Colosseum in Rome, is for this very brutal kind of entertainment of gladiators fighting. And it was surrounding a pool, freshwater pool by the way. And right in the center there was a kiosk. You can still see a rectangle-shaped rock in the center of the pool, and the palace was built around it. See, whatever we know about luxury and good life, they sort of already forgotten, and they invented all this. The pedestal garden is in the, you see the piece of rock over there. This is one of the most important archaeological findings in Caesarea. It was found in a secondary use in one of the seats, as one of the seats in the theater. The theater we're going to visit in a minute. And when they flipped it over, they found two names. It was probably a dedication stone of some sculpture or something. They found the name of Tiberias, and of Pilate. We're going to see it over there. And this is right after Herod. We talked about the fact that his sons couldn't sort of hold long, and the governors that were sent from Rome took this palace and used it as their own, and this was the palace of Pilate. 26 to 36, and this is where Pilate is the Roman governor, and this is the only, outside the Evangelions, outside the Gospel, this is the only place we find his name, in sort of an object that carries his name. Very important finding over there. Well, that runs in and out to bring in, instead of bringing it to the ports, putting it on trucks, bringing it here, which would cause a lot of pollution. They build this very long, it's about 2 kilometers long. The boats are docking over there, and there is a belt taking all the coal into, we talked about the fact that the energy market here is mostly based up till coming all the way to the city. So it started with that, and after Herod's time, the Romans brought the water with the aqueducts all the way to Caesarea.
Roman well.
And this is the palace. It was imagination a little bit.
This is the palace.
You can see the pool here at the center, and everything was built around it. On these walls, they built the palace.
So in
itself.
ruins.
Some of it is standing up, right? And right at the center of.
There's a pool in the center.
But they did it based on, you see those two over there, and there are some more. So these are originals. So they sort of rebuilt them or redid them in a way that would help us understand the way it looked like back then, without again wanting us to believe that this is original. Not original, those are originals over there. And they made a lot of, well, anyway, one of the stories that Josephus is telling us about the palace here at the time of Pilate is that Pilate wanted to force the Jews to bring to the temple in Jerusalem to bring idols or probably sculptures of the emperor or something of this nature, but they saw it as very offensive because bringing it to the temple would sort of bring paganism from their perspective into the temple. So they objected very much. And they came, Josephus is telling us, to his palace in Caesarea. They sent a delegation, and he wasn't willing to see them. So they went on a hunger strike. in front of his palace for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. After a while, he just had enough. And this is how we learned about the Hippodrome in Caesarea. And then he tells Pilate's telling the Jews, go wait by the Hippodrome. So now we know that they just moved a few steps and they moved into the Hippodrome, and they were sitting down there waiting for him. As they were waiting for him, he circled them with, or surrounded them with his soldiers, and then he steps in, and there is this clash of will between the Roman governor. Now they know that his business here on behalf of the Romans is to keep things quiet and collect taxes. If he causes troubles, he loses money and he has to report to his managers back in Rome, they know what are his limitations. He knows that they know that if he wants to, he can sort of cut their heads off and he wouldn't really pay a price, besides some troubles with the Jews, which he already had. So it's like a standoff. Eventually, Joseph is telling us he's backing first. He's like blinking first in this, and these idols are not being brought into the temple in Jerusalem. So this all happened here, and we learn from him about the palace. We learn about the Hippodrome. Later on, the balconies of this Hippodrome is where one of the last not later on, way before that. Sorry. If you roll this back, Pilate's time is like 26 to 36. One of the last Maccabean kings, a few years before Herod's takeover, is being assassinated on the balconies of this Hippodrome here. So the Caesarea, as we said, was a very important center.
Even before Herod?
No, not. This is at the time. So he's like in charge of 100 people, something like this nature. Here's about Christianity, and he wants to learn more about it, and he invites St. Peter's. So St. Peter's in Jaffa is on his way to here to meet this obviously non-Jew, and this is one of the first occasions where the message will be brought to non-Jews. So before he comes here, and this is a decision that he has to take, it's not something that was obvious that he should bring this message to non-Jews. And he gets a sign. When he is up in Jaffa, before coming here, is with one of the early followers of the Christians, and he's on the roof. He's napping an afternoon nap, and he's waking up very hungry. And a tray, not a tray, but like a sheet with is coming down from heavens down to him, and it's loaded with non-kosher food. Let's put it mildly. It's like all kinds of seafood, stuff that he would never dream to have because he was a devoted Jew. He kept kosher. So he shouts up, this is not about food really, wait a minute. He shouts up, you know, how can I eat this filth? Take this away from me, how can I eat this filth? And God's answer is, what I made is good enough for you to eat. Now this is not, you know, some conversation about the menu or being unhappy with the service or whatever. This is a message that Christianity is to approach everybody. So he's like, again, he's getting a message that was true up till now. What was all the limitations, all those things that apply for the Jews is not relevant anymore in bringing up the message. He's on his way here. This is the context. It's not just that he's on the roof. He's on the way here and he's debating with himself. I mean, I'm going to see this non-Jew. Do I bring it to him, this idea, or not? And this is a sign from God. This is how he sees it. It's a sign from God that, you know, what was relevant up till now is not relevant anymore. And then they have the same kind of a debate about circumcision. Do we, like, the number one sort of barrier of joining in Judaism is this minor tactical sort of, but what do we do with this? And there is a debate. It's not something that is obvious. It took them some time to say, you know, okay, let's waive this. And it's an ongoing process, and Caesarea is very important because this is when it was decided that Christianity would approach not only the Jews. And later on, it was a very important Christian center. The libraries here, the scholars here. Since it was a central place, many of the scholars of early Christianity were here, and that's the